I sent a flirty text to my boss by accident, then she showed up at my door at night. The second I saw her name light up my screen, my stomach dropped so fast I thought I might be sick. I was standing in my kitchen in my small apartment in Back Bay, Boston, staring at my phone like it had just betrayed me. The room was quiet except for the low hum of my fridge and the sound of my own breathing getting louder. My heart was beating so hard it felt like someone was knocking from the inside of my chest. Madison Carter. My boss. Her message sat there, simple and sharp. I'm outside. My whole body went cold. 10 minutes earlier, I had sent her a message that was never meant for her. A message that was supposed to go to my best friend, Luke. A message that crossed every line I had carefully built around my life. And now she was outside my apartment. My name is Ryan Mitchell. I'm 30 years old, a senior software developer at a tech company in downtown Boston. I've worked there for 7 years. I show up early, leave on time, write clean code, and avoid drama like it's a disease. I don't flirt at work. I don't date coworkers. I don't take risks that could mess up my steady paycheck and quiet life. Safe has always worked for me. My apartment is small, but organized. Exposed brick wall. Gray couch. A narrow kitchen with 2 bar stools. A desk by the window that looks down at a narrow street where people walk their dogs at night. It's not exciting, but it's mine. And until tonight, it felt secure. Madison became head of product 6 months ago. She transferred from our Chicago office. From the first team meeting, she changed the air in the room. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't try to impress anyone. She just stood there, calm and sharp, and spoke like she expected us to rise to her level. She's 37, tall. Dark hair usually tied back in a smooth ponytail. Eyes that hold steady eye contact, like she actually sees you. Not just your output, not just your mistakes. The first time she stopped by my desk, she leaned slightly over my monitor and asked about a system update I had built. She listened to every word. When I finished explaining, she smiled just a little and said, "That's solid work, Ryan." No one had ever said it like that before, like I wasn't just another engineer in a long list. I told myself it was admiration. Professional respect. It wasn't just that. There was something about her that pulled at me in a way I did not like to admit. Something steady and strong, but also tired. Like she carried more than she showed. She's divorced. She has a 10-year-old daughter in Chicago who lives with her ex during the school year. She moved to Boston for the promotion. I knew all this because she was open about it in a clean, controlled way. I kept my distance, always polite, always careful. The only person who knew how I felt was Luke. Luke has been my best friend since college. He is loud, confident, and believes I overthink everything. He says I live like I'm trying to avoid future pain instead of chasing present happiness. Tonight, I was texting him about Madison. He asked, like he always does, any movement on the hot boss situation, quote. I rolled my eyes and typed back, "It's not like that. She's my boss." Total no. He sent laughing emojis and then wrote, "If you weren't scared, what would you say to her?" I shouldn't have kept going. I should have put my phone down. But I had a glass of whiskey in my hand and my guard was lower than usual. He started sending example messages as a joke. Most were ridiculous. Too bold. Too much. Then he sent one that made my chest tighten. "You're captivating." I know it might cross a line, but I'd regret never saying it. I stared at those words longer than I should have. Because they were true, I copied the message. My plan was to paste it back into our chat and tell him he was insane. Instead, my thumb moved too fast. I hit Madison's name. I pressed send. The message flew out before I understood what I had done. Delivered. 2 small marks appeared almost instantly. Seen. My blood rushed to my face. My heart slammed into my ribs so hard I had to sit down. "No!" I whispered to the empty room. I stood up again immediately and started pacing. My apartment felt tiny. The brick wall looked closer, the ceiling lower. I knocked into the coffee table with my knee and barely felt it. I thought about sending a follow-up apology, something quick, something that explained it was a mistake. But what explanation makes that message harmless? Then her reply came. I'm outside. My hands started shaking. Outside. Not angry text. Not a cold response. Not a warning about HR outside. I walked slowly toward the door like I was heading to a final exam I hadn't studied for. Every step felt heavy. There was a knock. Not loud. Not soft. Certain. I froze with my hand hovering over the handle. Another knock. Same rhythm. She knew I was there. I opened the door. Madison stood in the hallway under the yellow building light. She wore a dark coat over a simple sweater. Her hair wasn't in its usual tight ponytail. It was down around her shoulders, slightly messy from the wind. Her cheeks were pink from the cold. She didn't look furious. That scared me more. Ryan, she said calmly, like we were about to discuss quarterly goals. Can I come in? My brain screamed no. My body stepped aside. She walked in slowly, looking around my apartment without judgment but with awareness. I suddenly noticed every flaw. The dishes in the sink. The throw blanket half folded on the couch. The empty glass on the counter. I closed the door. The click sounded final. She turned to face me. You sent me something interesting, she said. I'm so sorry, I blurted out. It was meant for my friend. I copied it to show him. I didn't mean to send it to you. I swear I wasn't trying to make things weird. She raised her hand slightly. Stop, she said, gently but firmly. I know what the message said. Silence filled the room. You called me captivating, she continued, and said you'd regret not saying it. My throat felt tight. It was an accident. Was it? She asked quietly. Her eyes locked on mine, and suddenly this wasn't about a wrong button. It was an accident that I sent it, I said slowly, not that I felt it. The air shifted. She stepped closer, just one small step, but it felt like the ground tilted. I didn't come here to fire you, she said. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. I came, she continued, because when I read that message, I didn't feel offended. My pulse spiked. I felt seen. My heart pounded harder than before. You don't flirt with me at work, she said. You don't linger. You don't try to impress me. You treat me like a person. I am treating you like a person, I said. That's the problem. A small smile touched the corner of her mouth and disappeared. You're scared, she observed. Yes. Of losing your job? Yes. Of me? I hesitated. Yes, I admitted. She studied my face, like she was measuring something deep.